I remember the guy named Tamal Delbiguet. I remember him coming to me one day and just asking me if I had read about this Arkham Asylum game. I guess I was a little prejudiced, right? I sort of had dismissed it. It's going to be another, you know, licensed superhero title, and I don't really expect too much. Then I remember one day like hearing, oh, it's been pushed back. And us all going, wow, wait a second, what's that all about? You don't do that for a licensed title. Obviously, this isn't a standard licensed title. There's something deeper to this.
I remember first seeing like the campaign for Arkham Asylum. I think I was actually with Remy at the time. I was with a buddy of mine named Alex, who's the creative director on AC3, and we're looking at this and we're like, this looks good. And she was like, it's amazing. We're like, really? And she's like, no. She's like, it's amazing. I guess the game came out a few months later. We're like, well played, Remy.
Obviously, when it did come out, it was all anyone on my team talked about for a solid month. In particular, what they talked about and what we all aspired towards was how immediately you were Batman. They did not break that fourth wall. Everything you did, every UI element, every mechanic, every narrative element just further immersed you into the fantasy of being Batman. We salivated at that. We broke it apart and analyzed every little bit of it to try and extract from that techniques that we could make sure we were applying to our games so that ideally players would feel as immersed in our lead characters as you were with Batman and Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, what Rocksteady did there was they really delivered on being that character and being in that world. I don't know if you remember before that, but there was the whole, the term the curse of Batman, because there was decades of games that did not deliver and were not that character, and then when Rocksteady delivered that, people were ready for it. People were waiting for that game to buy this. Oh damn, it wasn't quite that, and then Rocksteady blew the doors off with Arkham Asylum.
Suddenly there was this game, kind of out of nowhere, who had gotten this, not only the superhero tone, but the Batman tone right, and that was like an epiphany, right? It just like, it can happen.
Yeah, they just nailed it.
One of the biggest clearest memories I have in there was the moment where you first come up against guys with guns. It was the first kind of Predator tutorial really, about how you grapple up above guys and move from gargoyle to gargoyle and drop down behind people and take them out when their buddies can't see or hear you doing it. And it was that first training that, get behind guys, I've got this move, just choke them out and move through the group. And it felt very organic. That was something I think Rocksteady have a really good grasp on, is making tutorials feel like they're part of the game. And I think that they did a great job of that with a bunch of complex mechanics that have huge depth. The challenge modes are they really taught me a lot, and I think they taught anyone who plays them a lot, because what they teach you more than anything is you don't know how to play the game when you're playing through the campaign. It's a beautifully balanced campaign. There's definitely great encounters, great fights, great Predator rooms, but you start to appreciate just how deep the mechanics are in the game when you play the challenge rooms. And something we're trying to do in this game more is to offer more people the chance to get that black belt, to get some of that mastery sense as they're playing through the campaign. Not through adding lots of tutorials to the game or trying to bore them with pop-up messages, but adding an approach which lets people become more aware of the depth of the mechanics and dip their toe in there and enjoy that more if they want to. Also, Arkham's a very mainstream game and we want everyone to be able to play it and enjoy it, so we're not suddenly doubling the difficulty level and making people throw their controllers down and smash them in frustration. But what we are doing is trying to add an awareness to tap into that depth if you want to. And I think that's something that will be really fun. It's been a great experience working with these mechanics and adding to them.
The memory that stands out for me the most is playing the mini game. The feeling of like the rumble, and you know, the camera would like zoom in and Batman would like pop up the screen and he would sort of hack the door. And how all of the different tools came together. I felt like I was Batman. I was hacking that door. I had just decrypted that message. It wasn't stop, pause, flash pop up, mash the buttons. Oh look, the little guy's running across the screen. 2 thumbs up. Okay, now back to Batman. It was really, really tightly interwoven with the overall fantasy. That's AAA, man. That's the future.
The thing that Arkham Asylum really had going for it, and you see it there in the Arkham City interiors too, is they have a wonderful sense of pacing, kind of a symphonic approach to the way that they structure things. A few years ago, a friend of mine, a designer I was working with at the time, mentioned that he thought good level design was like music. And I thought that was a really sharp insight. And what he meant by that was, you know, you have your verse and your chorus, and your verse and your chorus, and you break things up. So if you look at something, either of those games, you're never fighting for so long you're sick of fighting. You're never navigating for so long you're sick of navigating. You always fight just enough guys, and by the end of the fight you're like, oh, I could have had a few more guys there. I'm really into this. And then they take it away from you, and then you do something else. You solve a puzzle, you break through a code door, you're navigating around, gliding, you're sneaking up behind someone and choking them out, and then there's a fight again, and you've refreshed, and it's just about enough of it where you could almost be sick of it, but they stop it before that too. And you always, with every part of the game, you always feel like you could have had more. You're never full. And I think that's something which Rocksteady, with both of those games, taught the industry a lot about how to pace games. They're really masterful at that.
With Arkham Origins, it's really what we wanted to do is, we want this game to really speak for itself. I mean, those guys have clearly done an amazing job. I think Arkham City is it's one of the highest rated games of all time. So with this one, we said, we want this game to speak for itself, and we want it to be obviously clearly an Arkham game, but it needs to have its own creative thread, its own creative vision behind it. You guys will tell us when it's all done. Hopefully you'll feel that as well.